Annyeonghaseyo minasan, Anime Asian here, and today we are going to talk about anime and manga and the differences between the two. Now I just want to start off this video with first that this is my own personal opinion on this matter, so if you do not agree with me on this, that's fine. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Anyways, putting that aside, if you guys have watched anime and manga, you will probably have noticed that there are usually differences between the two versions. Sometimes they're very minor, other times they're very major. Now, for me, I discovered some of these in shows that I have watched and read the mangas. Now, one of them is a manga called Sidoni no Kishi. Now, in this one, the differences that I found on it is where what I like to call them as scene fillers, where in a manga you have a picture and you have dialogue and it helps explain the story. In an anime, you have the same thing, but you don't have the luxury of having a still picture. You need to have an animation, so you need filler scenes. So one of the things that I found in this show was in volume 10, I believe chapter 49, where when the main character Nagate asks out Izana, one of the main side characters, on a date type thing, there was a difference between the manga and anime version. Now, in the manga version, they do pass by these buildings and they do have some dialogue, and then they go to some place called Shore of Ages, and that's where in the manga where pretty much most of the dialogue happens. Now in the anime, they don't quite have the same thing, where in the anime instead they go to the village and they actually talk about the village itself. I don't remember what the name of it is off the top of my head, but I understand why they did that, where in a way I actually found that pretty cool because it's not in the manga, and it was some new sceneries that have never before been seen. And I understand from the fact where, like I said, reading words on a page is sometimes much quicker than actually speaking it, so they needed the time to be able to say all the lines in the manga, but you can't fit that in the necessary panels that they showed in the manga, so they had to stretch a scene out or add a filler scene in the anime series, and that's kind of where they talked about the village a bit more, and because of that they were able to fit in all the dialogue that was necessary, and in the end they still went to the Shore of Ages. So for me, I didn't actually mind that. It was nice that they actually did that. With that, there are also some other minor differences in the show where on the overall plot, I personally wouldn't say it affects it, where, this is a spoiler by the way, Izana's gender is revealed much earlier in the anime than in the manga. In the anime, it's revealed really early in season 1, but if you look on the manga side of it, it wouldn't actually be revealed until maybe around season 2. So that's a main difference. I mean, overall, it's not a huge thing. It didn't really affect the plot line, from what I could tell. Like I said, so from that standpoint, I'm not sure why they did that, but for me, I was completely fine with it. Now, the differences in this show were the enemies, or the main antagonists. For me, from what I could tell, the main antagonist in the anime is Beni Suzume, while in the manga, I would have to say that the scientist called Ocha and the Ghana are the main enemies. So there's a slight difference. I mean, in both the manga and anime, both of them do exist, but I think in the anime, they more focused on Beni Suzume and defeating her. So that's a difference I found. But again, I don't really mind that, because if you think about it, you have to make a show within 12 episodes, or you have a certain time limit, and with the Scientist Ocha arc, if you could say, it goes longer. It would take more time for it to, for them to, figure out what this is, and it's still going. The Beni Suzume arc is much shorter, which gave them the time space to create a season 1 and season 2 and be able to wrap it up when they defeated her. Another one that I found out is that another show, it's an older one, it was called Hayate no Gotoku. Now, in this one, it's a very comedy-based show. One of the major differences I found is that in the manga, whenever Hayate is bleeding or there's some type of violence, it's actually shown in a drawing. In the anime, they cover it up with a symbol, and it's more of a comedy effect. So it's not a huge difference, it's just one of the things that they decided to put in there. A major difference that I saw in that was in Season 3, the entire season was on a whole new material which the author was based off a manga that he never released to the public. Again, I didn't personally like Season 3, the reason being is it just had a very different feeling to all the other seasons of Hayate. I can understand why it was a good move, because with that, if people do like that new version of Hayate, then they can go on and create, media or more manga, more anime based off that, and or if the audience doesn't like that, then they can always just go back to the original and they didn't lose anything. Other than that, the manga and anime for Hayate, I would say, is still very comedy based. There were, again, some minor differences in scenery, but on the overall plot line, I didn't really see a difference. I can't really back it up completely because I don't own all the Hayate manga that covers everything, but for what I do own, it does follow pretty closely, and so yeah, that's why I agree with it. One of the animes that I have noticed that is completely different than its manga counterpart is Rosario Vampire. Now, in the anime, that one has a lot of fan service and comedy, which in the manga, it's more darker and more serious based. In the anime, Mocha is the main character, while from a friend I heard that Kurumu is actually the main character, more the main character in the manga. So it's a difference in characters. I mean, they're all main characters. And in the manga, since it's longer running, you could say, the characters are introduced over a longer period of time than in the anime, where they're introduced very quickly. But you have a time constraint of 12 episodes to show everyone and get them all in there and get the plot moving. So from that point, there are differences in that. So that's one of the things you could find. The differences between a anime or manga is that they may or may not introduce the characters much more quickly. That's, again, not a big thing if they did it right. So yeah, there are differences between an anime and manga, and for me, I don't really mind that because, like I said, there's the filler scenes where you have to add those so that they have the time to to put all the dialogue in there. And then other times they will completely change the plot drastically from its manga counterpart. So I know people don't like that, they want to see the original. So changing the plot of an anime, changing the manga in an anime, I don't really like that. I don't really approve of that. But when they add a filler scene or, maybe rearrange a couple of things in the anime to where, like I said, the characters are introduced maybe a bit more quickly, but on overall plotline doesn't change anything, I don't mind that. Because, again, the biggest thing is that you have a time constraint on this. I don't know, this is just my personal opinion on this. You guys don't have to agree with me, but I just try to keep more of an open mind to why they do certain things, and if it doesn't affect the plot line of the story, and the story is still very compelling, and it's, pretty close to the manga, I can overlook a couple of differences like that, or the filler scenes. I know there are more shows out there that are probably very similar to this, I just have yet to find them, or I just forgot to review them. So anyways, keep watching anime, keep reading those manga, and just enjoy the experience to the fullest, and I will see you guys all later, not literally, at another time. Bye!